Bodo Glimt 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2. It finishes just now in the Arctic Circle. Tottenham Hotspur take a share of the spoils, and I'm not sure they deserve it, but the one positive from the night, the major overarching positive, is a continuation of the theme of dogged resilience from Tottenham Hotspur. We go down in games, but we don't give up. We fight back, and I'm not sure if we deserve a point, but I can only credit the mentality that Thomas Frank has put into the team to continue the fight, to continue the challenge, and to continue the slog, which it felt like tonight on the AstroTurf, the artificial pitch in the Arctic Circle. I wasn't impressed with the starting 11 that Tottenham put out. Question marks have to be asked about that, and I'm sure they will over the next couple of days in the analysis, in the deep dive. But for me, I think that for most Tottenham fans around the Twitter sphere and on YouTube, I saw, generally speaking, people were okay with the 11, and I thought that we would be able to put this 11 out and still manage to get a comfortable 2-0 victory. I never felt that way in the pre-match preview I did a couple of days ago. I did say to you guys that the context of our last effort in Bodo when I was there was that we were 3-1 up from the first leg in the semi-final. And so the environment and the shape of the game, that the game state was different to how it is when you go in 0-0 and it's the second game in the league phase of the Champions League. And I think a lot of people sleep on Bodo Glimt. I think a lot of teams do. They're a very, very strong team at home. The environment, obviously, the weather hasn't necessarily turned yet, but the pitch is different. It's awkward. And we didn't even train. We didn't take the 45 minutes that are available in the pre-game the day before to actually train on the pitch, because apparently Thomas Frank didn't want to give away any kind of tactical or technical secrets. And he thought that his argument was that you don't really get any benefit from 45 minutes. You need weeks to be able to acclimate to that particular style of pitch. And so it's better just to kind of keep our tactics behind closed doors and just go in a little bit blind, a little bit rough on that pitch. And do you know what? For me, I think that was the first mistake that he made in this particular lineup. Again, I'm not going in too hard on him necessarily, but I think we have to be able to critique the decisions and the performance that was on play. As I say, mentality shifts are 100% apparent at Tottenham Hotspur right now. They are there to be seen. We've gone 2-0 down against Brighton, we came back. We went 1-0 down against Wolves, we came back. We've gone 2-0 down tonight, and we came back. So there's absolute plaudits and positives to take away from whatever it is that he's instilling in the ability to fight back and to bounce back from things that have gone wrong. But for me, not practicing on the pitch is a little bit of a question mark, as was the selection of the team. Brennan Johnson on the right-hand side did, for the most part, the square root of nothing once again today. I've been watching WhatsApp as the game's been going on, the various groups that I'm in, and a lot of people were going after Wilson Odebear, saying he does absolutely nothing. I'll say right now, I think that Wilson Odebear in the first half, which I'll come to in just a second, where we were absolutely abject, we were awful, woeful first half performance. There was only two names in the midfield forward on that pitch that did anything that was worthy of note, and that was Lucas Berghvall and Wilson Odebear. Apart from that, everybody else was absolutely shocking. Richalison running around like a headless chicken. Brennan Johnson on the right-hand side, anonymous, trotting around, not really getting back to support Pedro Porro, which almost cost us, because for the first 30 minutes of the game, it was essentially all Bodo. From the 4th minute, we had a stinging shot from Vicario that was parried over the bar. As soon as that happens, he puts it over the top. He turns around and points to his eye to let everybody know exactly why he struggled with that one. It's like he's constantly needs to have a go at somebody, have a crack at somebody. For whatever happens, I'm going to come back to him time and time again in this review, because he's really starting to frustrate me. His ability to find a reason to chastise other people, to deflect any kind of accountability or responsibility, drives me up the wall. But also this rationale as to need to point to things or to justify, explain what it is and why it is that he doesn't make a relatively comfortable save look a little bit easier. Seems like he's more aware of how he's being perceived than he is in the perception of being in the game and the perspective of trying to just sort things out. He's thinking about other things, and it's very frustrating and a little bit concerning. For the first 30 minutes, like I say, basically all Bodo. Every time we won the ball, we gave it straight back. Absolutely a frustrating experience, and it was just wave after wave after wave. What I would say is that Tottenham were very compact. incredibly compact. When we had the ball, we tried to get more width. When we lost the ball, which was literally every 5 seconds, we would kind of get ourselves compact, put bodies in the box. And for the most part, as much as Bodo were attacking down the left-hand side with the guy, is it Birkan or something like that? I think his name is Birkan. Down the left-hand side, and Herg was the real danger man for Bodo in the early stages of the game. In the 34th minute, Bentancur puts in a silly slide tackle, and after the ball's been crossed in, but his follow-through on the slippery surface gives away a penalty. And fortunately for us, Hogue smashes it over the bar. I think it's his 4th game without scoring, particularly in that point in the game. And we get a reprieve, but Bodo were well worthy of a goal and well worthy of the lead. If it had happened, it didn't particularly happen. 37th minute, another chance for Bodo, shot from distance just wide. 40th minute, another chance for Bodo. 43rd minute, Tottenham Hotspur get their first sort of basic chance on goal, and it's a breakaway from Tottenham, and Pape Sarr has an incredibly lame shot from distance, about 28 yards, and it peters wide for a goal kick. Half-time, my notes here, absolutely awful from Tottenham. Defending deep, bodies on the line, blocking shots, etc. No real complaints about Danso or Van der Ven or people that kind of tucked in there. In terms of the defensive setup, it was essentially give the ball back, not by design, but that was just the outcome. And then we just threw so many bodies in the box that it turned out to be a bit of a pinball, and Vicario didn't have too many saves to make at the change, but it was unimpressive. I was calling for changes. I think Polinia was needed to give us a bit of some more resilience in that kind of 6 role. Looking to bring Mohamed Kudus onto the pitch, and maybe Xavi Simons as well, because we were passing the ball and it was going nowhere. The people that were on the pitch were not known for their technical abilities to carry the ball, to hold the ball. Players like Kudus and Xavi far better at that sort of discipline, and so it was crying out for it. But we started the second half with absolutely no changes. I've got some notes here saying some small positives was Spence. Jed Spence was being okay with driving runs, but unfortunately he was generally driving into sort of dead alleys with no particular output. Then in the 52nd minute, Bodo do get the breakaway with Hoga. Absolutely sublime midfield pass from the Bodo midfielder. I forget who it was. Sliced through 2 or 3 of Tottenham's midfield, who were basically anonymous in that game. Bentancur in the first half, absolutely anonymous. Pape Sarr, absolutely anonymous. As I say, you could give a little bit of credit in the first half to Berghvall, but not very much. It's slim pickings there. The superb pass comes through the midfield. It's sent wide, and Hoga, he creates the space, does a little shimmy, and then he puts the ball, I'm going to say top bins, but that's very, very loose with my analysis, because if I'm entirely honest, whilst it was well-deserved for Bodo, I have to sit there and criticise Vicario once again, or at least question his position. He might have been blindsided a little bit by Kevin Danso, but at the same time, his positioning sense many times so far this season is entirely questionable, and as soon as it goes in, he was nowhere near it, absolutely nowhere near it, and it wasn't really top bins, it was middle of the goal. He turns around and berates his defence, once again trying to abdicate any accountability for the fact that we are 1-0 down. From the restart, we essentially get a goal straight away, and I was really happy with the kind of rebound, if you like, the bounce back ability. Bentancur puts the ball in the back of the net. Porro free kick. I think it was a free kick, or it might have been a corner. I'm not sure from memory. It hits the post. It goes all the way through, hits the back post. Pedro Porro once again doing what he does so well, which is creating mayhem with his unbelievable ability to cross. There is a scramble. It falls out on the right-hand side towards Johnson, who sticks it back. And I think it was a bit of a sort of a shot, a low shot, but it goes into the pinball and it falls into the melee. And then Bentancur pokes it home. Unfortunately, it's overturned on review by VAR because Micky Van der Ven has grabbed the shirt. Obviously, the replay was slowed down, but it did look like a disallowable offence. We know the rules now. Silly from Van der Ven to get caught up in it. He's obviously furious, upset, and about 2 minutes later, Van der Ven slides in aggressively down our left-hand side, down Bodo's right, and takes the player out, doesn't get the ball, and is on a yellow card. And he was really sort of resisted the temptation, I think, to punch the ball away and get a second yellow card immediately. I was calling for karma, Micky, karma. We've still got time to play in this game. I thought he'd lost his head, but he didn't. We made some changes. Kudus, Xavi, I think they come on the bench, came on for Johnson and Berghvall. Suddenly we get a little bit more time on the ball. We have some people that are a little bit more sticky, and we start to kind of build into the game from there onwards. But that in that initial 5 or 6 minutes, it was still very much Bodo. More chances for Bodo in about the 58th minute. In the 65th minute, though, we go 2-0 down. Jens Petter Højgaard once again. Absolutely shocking ball from Xavi Simons on the edge of the Bodo box, gives the ball away, and we're picked off. And it breaks very fast. Spurs get back. Spurs do very, very well, to be fair, to get back. 8 men charging back as fast as they can, and they get some resemblance of structure and order. But the ball gets put back to Vicario. Once again, a horrendous clearance from him. It slices the ball up into the air, gets caught up in the wind, and I think Jed Spence can't quite get it down. It gets recycled back out to Højgaard on the left-hand side, who feints in and out and then pops the shot back in the back of the net. Once again, a mistake from Vicario, but I'm not going to give him the full blame on this one because it all started back with a sloppy pass from Xavi Simons. In the 68th minute, though, we get back into it. We're 2-0 down, and from that point, Bodo stepped back. They sat back and were looking to hold on. And I'm going to say this right now, guys. Teams that play against Tottenham need to learn the lesson that if Tottenham Hotspur go 1-0 down and then the other team, or 2-0 down, and the other team sits off, you're inviting Tottenham to get back into the game. And that mentality, resilience, and that ability to have the possession seems to be the trigger and the catalyst for Tottenham to be able to get something out of the game. If I'm the opposition manager, if I'm the Leeds manager right now, Daniel Farke, looking at what happened tonight, looking at what happened against Wolves, looking at what happened against Brighton, my instruction will be, if we get ahead in this game and we have possession, Tottenham are not great. Tottenham are not great when the opposition have the ball and they do wave after wave after wave. It feels very much sort of backs against the wall. And if you get the lead, you don't sit back against Tottenham. You don't give them the ball. You carry on going like it's 0-0. I know that sounds a little bit counterintuitive to common sense, but it only feels like Tottenham get back into the game once the other teams sit off us, once they've got the lead and they want to preserve what they have. If they weren't doing that, I'm not sure Tottenham Hotspur would have came away from that game tonight or any of the others with the result that we have, with the points that we have. 2-1 in the 68th minute. Amazing delivery. Absolutely sensational delivery from Pedro Porro back on the right-hand side with Mohamed Kudus in front of him. We know what Kudus is like, right? We can all agree. You can call it selfish or you can call it confidence, but the ball is like sticky toffee to his foot. He doesn't like necessarily sort of creating things too far forward with other people around him. But if he feels like he hasn't got that opportunity to turn around and go again, then he'll give it back to Pedro Porro. And this is the point I was making about playing Jed Spence off the right-hand side. You don't have what Pedro Porro has if you're playing Jed off the right. You don't have it. Jed Spence seems to be very comfortable driving himself off the left-hand side. And again, with Odegaard in front of him, there is the ability for the left-back, whether it's Udogie or whether it's Jed Spence, to be able to connect with Odegaard, who's less selfish than he should be. But on the right-hand side, with Kudus, when he's given up the goose, he pays it back to Pedro Porro, and he does what he does. He whips in an absolutely unbelievable ball into a crowded box, but Van de Ven's got a bit of space. Lovely header, and the comeback was on. That was in 68 minutes. We made some more changes then. Palhinha on for Sarr, I think it was, and Gray comes on a few minutes after that for, I think, Rodrigo Bentancur. Forgive me if I'm mistaken on those things. 83rd minute, guys. After that, the next 15 minutes after those, or next 10 minutes after those changes, chances for Tottenham, but not too much. A couple of breakaways for Bodo, but nothing really manifesting. 2-1, Tottenham getting more into the game, more and more confidence. 83rd minute, I think it was Kudus who puts an absolutely delicious cross into the back post. And this time it's Wilson Odegaard who puts in a sliding header, and somehow, I don't know how this has happened, but it hits the stanchion and it flies off almost so close for Tottenham Hotspur in the 83rd minute. At that point, I'm starting to think this is one of those nights, but no, it wasn't to be. But in the 88th minute, Hogue again on the break. What a player this guy is. Bodo, born and bred from a town of about, 25,000, 30,000 people, something like that. This kid is, well, he's not a kid anymore, but he's an absolutely sensational player. On the break again, he cuts inside from the left, pulls it across for Maddison, who shoots from outside the box, and it clips the top of the bar. and it almost was game over for Tottenham Hotspur. Very, very nearly. Vicario, once again, questionable positioning. I don't know how he hasn't got a fingertip to that, but he hasn't. And then, what was it, the 91st minute in 7 minutes of injury time? Richalison gets the winner, the equaliser for us. The ball gets threaded down the right hand side, and Archie Gray comes on and is playing in the 8. I've been saying this for a while now. Archie Gray, he's putting in decent performances for Tottenham when he comes on in these cameos. He's quite a clever passer of the ball, and I think he's very intelligent. I don't think he has the stones to play the 6. He hasn't got the aggression. He doesn't have that temperament, that willpower, that kind of feistiness that Palhinha has, that just loves the tackle. He doesn't have that. So maybe he's a better in the 8 than he is in the 6. Because I think in the way that Tottenham play football and the way that football is played generally, the DM has to be a monster enforcer, not some sort of deep-lying playmaker in the Premier League the way that we do it. And so for me, Archie Gray is never going to really thrive, in my opinion, doing the sort of role that we need from a Monster 6, which is the role that Palhinha does so well. And he was capable and competent there, Palhinha, when he came on. But the ball gets threaded down to the right-hand side, and Archie Gray finds himself in quite a lot of space. There's a nice little shimmy, and then decides, I'm not sure if it was a cross-come shot or what it was, but it was certainly a driven low ball from the right-hand side into the kind of hands or the near post, and the goalkeeper for Bodo Glimt makes a mess of it. He can't get his hands on the ball. It's slippery. It pops up, and it bangs into Richalison, who doesn't celebrate. He's not particularly happy with himself, I think. But either way, the ball goes in 2-2. We have 3 minutes of a VAR in a competition that's supposed to have semi-automated offside rules for the VAR. And eventually, just about it was given. It looked to me like the defender's knee was slightly playing Richarlison onside. My initial thought when I saw it in real time was that it was offside, but eventually they figure it out and give the goal. Absolutely insane that you're playing Champions League football, and because the stadium is a small stadium, with the necessary resources that Bodo have, that you don't have cameras absolutely everywhere. I mean, it's absolutely insane. You should be able to have a zip wire or a drone or something that's able to, just keep up with the ball with some sort of GPS to be able to make these things instantaneous. In the end, 3 minutes of injury time were added, so we finished the game on 100 minutes. It kind of petered out in the end. 2-2 was the result, guys. Listen, this is my summary. I'm unimpressed with the team lineup. I think that Tottenham should have given more respect to Bodo, bearing in mind that if given the run of fixtures that we have in November, and the fact that we have things like PSG in the midweek and then Arsenal, I think the game before, etc., we should have treated this game with the necessary respect it deserved. We should have put our full-strength team out. I said it beforehand. I think people will underestimate Bodo. I understand that the pitch is a variable. I understand that there's a lot of minutes been played, but we are fairly early in the season. Romero not being there today. I don't think Danzo had a bad game, by the way. I don't expect things from Danzo that I would come to expect from Romero, being able to lump the ball in from the deep or whatever, any of those sorts of things. I don't have those same expectations, but in terms of what him and Van der Ven did generally, with regards just sort of numbers in the box and blocking the 18, 19 shots on target or shots on goal that Bodo had, I think they did pretty well in terms of blocks and recoveries and clearances and things like that. So not too much frustration from them, but the midfield was absolutely woeful in the first half. Bentancur and Pape Sarr were shocking for me. People that want to criticize the left wing situation, listen, we know we need better than what we have on the left-hand side. But if your first thought tonight is to go after Odegaard ahead of about 5 other players in the front line from the midfield forward, then I question whether you're working with agendas or you're working on an even keel, because I thought he did as good as a game as I've seen from him. Listen, it wasn't spectacular for sure. Johnson on the right hand side was woeful. Richarlison absolutely awful for the most part in that game. Didn't do anything. He got the goal in the end that saved us, but that was more by fortune than anything else. But what I would say is I'm a little bit concerned and also excited by the same thing. Our ability to go down in games, be completely outplayed for large parts of the game, and yet find a way to come through it. For me, that is a brilliant thing, but it's also something that can be figured out by opposition managers. and like I said in an earlier part of this video, if Tottenham Hotspur are playing against the team that get 1 or 2-0 up, having been the dominant side against Tottenham when they have the ball, for me, the first instruction would be when you go 1-0 up or 2-0 up, treat the game like it's 0-0, because when they go back and try to be in preservation mode, that to me seems to be the catalyst where Tottenham Hotspur can come on, be it building confidence and kind of essentially huff and puff and blow the house down and walk away with a point. We didn't deserve a point tonight. Bodo should feel very unlucky. The guy Hoga on the left-hand side or in the middle, he's such a dangerous player. And look, like I say, a penalty missed as well. I think they had they must have had nearly 20 chances or 20 shots on the night. We walk away with a point, 4 points. I guess that's all that matters if you want to think of it that way. But for me personally, there's a lot of question marks once again, and we'll be doing the deep dive tomorrow. There's also a lot of transfer news out that's really interesting that I'll be doing a video on tomorrow morning, guys, and also more information regarding Tottenham Hotspur's ownership and also Paratici. So look out for that. I'll speak to you then. But listen, we got the points, or we got the point, and I think it was a. I don't know how to summarize it, really. I don't think we deserved it, but output is all that matters, I guess, in life. But listen, we certainly have to have some question marks around team selection and the performances from those, albeit within the context of the fact that the pitch is very difficult, the environment's difficult, and that we had a couple of players out injured that we probably weren't expecting. Either way, that's it from me. Well done to Tottenham for getting a point. Well done to Bodo for putting in a good shift. And Helga, I miss you. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,